Germany is on a spending spree, investing hundreds of billions of euros in new infrastructure. I want to know where the money is going.
I'll be visiting projects on the ground and asking, what does this historic stimulus mean for the country's future? Germany's grand infrastructure plan, coming up on Business Beyond.
But first, how we got here. Here in Germany, many people feel things aren't working as well as they should be.
Trains are persistently late. A bridge collapsed in the city of Dresden last year. And high energy costs are crippling key industries like steel, chemicals and cars.
All this has made Germany less competitive. Now the new government says it's all about to change.
It's earmarked 500 billion euros to spend on infrastructure and climate protection over the next 12 years. The priorities: modernizing the rail network, expanding clean energy, and future-proofing hospitals, schools and universities. Germany's finance minister says he wants people to feel the changes in their everyday lives.
Wir wollen, dass die Bürgerinnen und Bürger das in ihrem Alltag spüren, dass sich etwas verändert, dass das Schlagloch, das seit Jahren nervt, auf einmal beseitigt wird, dass die Schultoilette, die schon seit Jahren nicht mehr benutzt werden kann, repariert wird, dass auch im Dorf die Ladesäule für Elektromobilität ermöglicht wird, dass das Schwimmbad neue Duschen bekommt, dass die Schienen saniert, die Brücken stabilisiert und das Glasfaserkabel verlegt wird.
There's hardly anything more fundamental to most people's daily lives than getting from A to B. For a long time, German trains were renowned for their punctuality and efficiency. Not anymore.
Last year, more than a third of long-distance trains did not arrive on time, forcing rail operator Deutsche Bahn to pay out 197 million euros in compensation. According to the company's internal report, outdated infrastructure, construction work, and staff shortages were to blame. Now the government is committing billions to restoring the national rail operator to its former glory.
This is an example of how that investment looks. I'm in Büchen, near the end of the line between Berlin and Hamburg, where construction workers have been hard at work modernizing the tracks.
Modernization here means fresh tracks, new overhead masts and the construction of a new platform. As well as that, the old signal tower is going to be replaced by a new electronic one. Julian Fasing is the project manager in charge of the modernization of the entire route between Berlin and Hamburg.
Was wir erwarten und erreichen werden, ist eine höhere Zuverlässigkeit der Technik, insbesondere hier in Büchen. Die Stellwerkstechnik hier ist schon etliche Jahre alt und damit störanfälliger als die neuen Stellwerke naturgemäß. Das wird sich ändern.
We're on our way through the station tunnel to take a tour of the old signal box that's recently been decommissioned. The technology inside dates back several decades and was in use until a few months ago. Workers had to manually operate levers to move signals across the tracks. Now, as part of Deutsche Bahn's modernization drive, this signal tower is being shut down for good. The new electronic system will be highly automated.
Here on this wall, you can see the messages left by the people who used to work in this old signal tower. This one says, "It's the end of an era. I'm going to miss this." But we're told that all of the employees who had jobs here are going to get training to work in the new electronic signal tower.
And just in case you were wondering how their new workplace will look,
this is the new electronic signal box. It's not ready for us to go inside yet, but it's due to begin operation in May next year.
what's happening here in Büchen is just one example of how Germany's national rail operator is preparing to move into the future. All over the country, similar works are underway. Insiders are keen to stress things won't change overnight, but they're on the right track, especially when the money from the Infrastructure and Climate Investment Fund begins to flow.
Die große Wirkung wird noch kommen, weil das Ganze jetzt ja erst anläuft. Die Finanzierung für dieses Projekt ist schon gesichert, deswegen ist es nur indirekt davon betroffen. Aber natürlich versprechen wir uns für die Zukunft da noch Ja, die Möglichkeit, einfach mehr Infrastruktur zu sanieren und zu erneuern, um den Zustand der Infrastruktur zu verbessern.
Another area where Germany wants to invest big is clean energy. At present, renewables make up around a fifth of Germany's primary energy consumption. Increasing that portion is a key priority for the government. Huge progress has already been made in electricity, where renewables account for well over half of overall production. But much still needs to be done to clean up other sectors, like transport, industry, and heating. One sector the government's been increasingly focused on is geothermal energy. A renewable resource, it's considered a promising heating alternative to natural gas. I've come to the northeastern town of Waren, home to Germany's oldest geothermal plant.
This geothermal plant was built 40 years ago when this town was still part of East Germany. It's continued to operate since, providing heat to some 1,700 local homes.
Here, heat is harnessed by extracting hot water through deep geothermal wells drilled into the earth. Like much of Germany's infrastructure, the plant was in need of renewal. Last year, renovation work was undertaken after a malfunction in the production well was discovered.
Haben also eine Kamerabefahrung durchgeführt, haben gesehen, dass da Salzablagerungen drauf sind und haben uns natürlich an unser Ingenieurbüro gewandt, Geothermie Neubrandenburg. Und mit denen zusammen haben wir dann versucht, die Bohrung mechanisch und chemisch zu reinigen.
At present, geothermal makes up only a tiny portion of Germany's heating needs. But the climate crisis and the move away from Russian energy has sparked renewed interest in the technology.
Mit den etablierten Technologien der Geothermie könnte man die Hälfte des Wärmebedarfs in Deutschland decken. Alles steht und fällt, wie in vielen Bereichen, auch hier mit der Investition. Von daher begrüßen wir ausdrücklich, dass es ein Sondervermögen für den Klimaschutz gibt. Wichtig ist jetzt, dass die Geothermieprojekte dieses auch abrufen können, dass es fließt.
The German government recently issued a draft law aimed at speeding up the approval processes for geothermal projects.
Wir erwarten, dass dieser feste Rahmen den Projektbetreibern einfach eine verlässliche Struktur bietet, dass das ganze Tempo gewinnt, dass Genehmigungen schneller durchgewunken werden, dass Bürokratie abgebaut wird und sind da zuversichtlich, dass die Geothermie Aufwind bekommt durch das Geothermiebeschleunigungsgesetz.
As is seen across many sectors, getting skilled staff isn't always easy. Saman Amir Hosseini is a drilling engineer from Iran who's made a career in geothermal energy in Germany.
In Iran, your background was actually in the oil and gas industry, right? How different is it working with geothermal?
In terms of drilling view, they are very similar. But as you know, because of their names, you can see that in oil and gas wells, we just produce oil or gas, but here is just about the clean water or brine.
What do you think Germany needs to do to attract more people like you to come here and work?
Maybe the government could provide more opportunities for foreigners to find jobs, or maybe to make easier this getting visa process. For example, in my country, sometimes it's a bit difficult for people, for students to get their visa to come to Germany. Most of them are very motivated, hardworking, but because of this problem, visa process, they have some difficulties to come to Germany.
Germany may be committing a whole lot of public money to improving infrastructure, but it's been keen to stress it needs private investors. One project that embodies that goal is NeuConnect. It's a huge undertaking involving the laying of 725 kilometres of land and subsea cables between Germany and the United Kingdom. Once complete, it will create the first direct power link between the two countries, allowing each side to transport their excess renewable energy according to demand. It's being financed by France's Meridiam, Germany's Allianz Capital Partners, and Japanese companies Kansai Electric Power and TEPCO Power Grid. Arnaud Grévaux is the CEO of NeuConnect. He says cooperation between the public and private sector has been key to its success.
And also it was a project that has a huge political support on both ends. If I take the example of Germany, there was no regulatory framework for interconnectors developed purely by private investors. It did not fit with German law, so German law had to be adapted, and there was a dedicated law that went through the Bundestag, and which shows really that the government was really keen on the making the project happen.
The goal of the NeuConnect link is to make renewable electricity more efficient and ultimately cheaper too. For example, Germany is 1 hour ahead of the UK, meaning that by the time people typically start work, there's often excess electricity that can be sent to the UK, where people are just getting ready to pop into the shower and make their morning cup of tea.
So sometimes when the wind farms in Germany, for example, are producing, the UK may be in need of energy and vice versa. We've made calculations, and we think that by using better integration of renewable energy, we could save up to 13 million tons of CO2 over the first 25 years of the interconnector's life.
So are we on the brink of a new golden age of German infrastructure? Maybe, but there are some caveats. Here are the top 3 concerns experts are raising.
Number 1, Germany is taking on too much debt. Number 2, the funds won't be spent effectively. And number 3, everything takes forever in Germany.
Let's go through them one by one. First, debt, something Germany has a complicated relationship with.
When he came to power, Chancellor Friedrich Merz made a big policy U-turn, scrapping Germany's strict limits on government borrowing known as the debt brake. Those rules had been in place since 2009 and were intended to prevent the Eurozone experiencing another debt crisis, solidifying Germany's role as the financial anchor of Europe.
Now, all of a sudden, the country's got hundreds of billions of euros to play with. An ideal chance to get out of its economic rut, right? Well, not everybody thinks so.
Some critics, including Germany's Federal Court of Auditors, say the country is taking on an unsustainable level of debt. In a recent analysis, it points out that 1 in every 3 euros the government spends is now going to be borrowed, money that will have to be paid back with interest in the coming years.
The Federal Court of Auditors declined an interview, so I asked renowned German economist Holger Schmieding if he shares their concerns.
I would worry about it if this were to go on forever and forever, yes. But Germany is in a fiscal position that is much, much better than the starting position of almost any other developed country in the world. In Germany, it looks likely that the ratio of public debt to GDP will rise from about 62% to some 78% in 10 years' time. Almost all other developed economies are far above 78%. The US is well above 100. The same goes for France. The UK is close to 100. So even with its ambitious plans to upgrade infrastructure and to be able to defend itself and Ukraine better, Germany would remain miles below the debt burden of other countries.
Another criticism from auditors is that the government has created technical loopholes to make it look like it's meeting investment targets, while actually increasing spending on operating costs like maintenance and salaries.
To make sure that the money is well spent, that these loopholes are closed or at least are reduced, so that most of the money really goes into the purposes of investment, defense, infrastructure. That is a good thing for the Court of Auditors to emphasize and emphasize again.
Okay, so the government needs to make sure the funds are actually going to infrastructure. But what about the fact that Germany is, well, Germany? Things here can be pretty slow.
I must say I have not yet noticed a difference in my daily life. The railways, of course, are as unpunctual as they were before. It will take time for things to get better. And the impression is that Germany is at least significantly slower than the US and the UK in spending the money. Still, Germany is trying to speed up procedures. So I think that by our own standards, which are slow, we are methodical, we have more regulations often, or we try to abide by the regulations more thoroughly than many other countries. By our own standards, it will likely get better. But by standards in many other countries, it will still be slow.
So, what's the solution?
We would need to see significantly more work, say on the highways, in the evenings, on weekends, than we have before. You often sort of pass along one of these Baustellen, the German word for it, for miles and miles, and nobody is working on there. Whereas from London, I've lived there for a while, I know if something on the main arteries is clogged, then companies work more or less day and night to get it done as fast as possible. And that is something which Germany should copy. I wouldn't be against paying those firms and those workers a bit more money to make sure that the repairs of bridges, that the repair of the highway system is simply done at each Baustelle, at each location, as fast as humanly possible.
So things are happening. Railway tracks are being modernized. There's progress being made on clean energy and, crucially, on bringing electricity prices down via projects like NeuConnect. But the stakes are high. The country's economy is in trouble and things need to improve quickly. If they don't, Germany could face many more years of stagnation.
Germany's new golden age of infrastructure may be within reach, but getting there will depend not just on money, but on momentum.
Die E950 nach Köln, die Abfahrt 11:46 Uhr. Bitte beachten Sie, dieser Zug verkehrt als Ersatzzug ICE 2932 und abweichend vom Gleis 1.